Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard Dr. Israr's presentation on Islam, Iman and Jihad, and now the floor is open for discussion.
I think that we should thank Dr. Israr because he was able to move us from the realm of theology to ideology. And that's very significant. I think that this is the square that we have to focus on when we speak about the interaction between Islam and society, or Islam and history, because perhaps ideology is a better term than theology in this type of discourse. And I have two major questions in this regard. The first question concerns the whole idea of takfir, declaring somebody an infidel. And as you well know, this kind of issue is not new in Islamic thought. It can be traced to the first split within Islam between Ali and Muawiyah and takfir and all of that. And later on it materialized in the whole major theological debate and philosophical debate between the Mu'tazilas and the Ash'arites in the classical phase of Islam. But nowadays it is a very sensitive issue in many Muslim countries. As you well know, in the 1970s in Egypt there was the takfir and hijra community, people who declared the whole society to be a kafir, the whole Muslim society of Egypt to be a kafir. And people trace those ideas to Sayyid Qutb in Egypt and Allama Maududi in India, Pakistan. And of course there are major traces of such ideas. Now the question is, who does have the authority from an Islamic perspective? Does any human being or institution have an authority to declare somebody or something, such as an institution, a kafir, an infidel?
Firstly, as I told, if we don't know anything else about a person and he testifies that there is no God except Allah and Muhammad is his slave and messenger, he is a Muslim. But if then we come later on, we come to know that he doesn't believe in Quran, for example, something which is most basic for Iman, then we declare him an infidel and kafir. And the case about Qadianis and Baha'is, that they don't accept Muhammad as the last prophet, and they think that the institution of prophethood and messengerhood is continuing. So declare someone to be a kafir, infidel, is separate from accepting someone as a Muslim. If we don't know anything about him, he is testifying he is a Muslim. But if we come to know that he believes in something which is just absolutely contrary to Islamic belief, then we declare him as infidel. In an Islamic state, it's only the state which can declare anybody or any sect or any group of people as infidel. But during the colonial rule, when there was no Islamic state, this function was taken up by the ulama. But as bad luck would have it, the ulama then used this sword against each other also, with little differences in theology and in the fiqh and law and this and so that is the sad part of it. But ulama, if they have a consensus about a group that they are not Muslims, they are outside the pale of Islam, then we have to admit it. This thing happened in Pakistan about Qadianis. The ulama, all sects, all Shias, Sunnis, and Brelvis, and Deobandis, and Ahl Hadith, Zahiris, Jamaat Islami, there was a complete consensus that they are outside Islam. And then the government also took this step. Mr. Bhutto, he got it decided by the parliament. And the Qadianis were given full opportunity to present their case. But then the committee of the parliament decided, no, they are outside Islam.
Now, I think that what you have essentially talked about is what we call, in Christian theology at least, the relationship between violence and the sacred. And I'm really delighted that
violence
and the sacred, Al-Qudsiyya, the sacred. And I'm really delighted that you have explained that from an Islamic perspective. However, I don't see any major difference between your ideas on the connection between jihad and violence or offensive Islam, so to speak, in your own terms, and between the ideas of somebody like Bin Laden and Ayman Zawahiri. The only difference I see is a matter of tactic, that perhaps you are much more tactical than they are.
No.
But in an essential theological justification of jihad, I don't see a big...
No, I'm sorry, you have misunderstood me.
Yes.
They have not passed through those 8 stages.
Yeah, but these stages are tactical stages.
Have they organized people? Have they purified their souls? Whatever Bin Laden is doing or the other, extremist groups, they are showing their anger only, just angry children. Giving vent to their anger because America is supporting Israel and it has gone out of way to support the Zionism. So they are angry, that's all. But this is not jihad fi sabilillah, not at all. My description is absolutely different. When the Russian armies entered Afghanistan and there was a resistance, there was all, in the whole Muslim world, jihad, jihad, jihad. And then Bin Laden was also bringing Arabs,
Yes.
And Omar Abdurrahman was also doing the same thing. Abdullah Azam was also doing the same thing. I never accepted it to be jihad fi sabilillah, never. I said this is jihad fi sabilillah, and this is permissible in Islam. And if you lay down your life for that, you are a martyr. But it is not jihad fi sabilillah. Jihad fi sabilillah has to pass through those stages. The prophetic, model. But then, when the Taliban came, and they established some laws were enforced of Islam, and there was all peace and tranquility in 90% area of Afghanistan. And one command of Mullah Umar and this cultivation of poppy, 0. Then we said, okay, now these people, they are the rebellions, the Northern Alliance, and the war against them is fi sabilillah. In the same way, I never accepted that whatever is going on in Kashmir is jihad fi sabilillah. Never. It is also jihad for
Freedom.
Freedom, for self-determination, etc., etc. So this is the main point. We have used this word mistakenly, in wrong sense, and we are actually to blame to bring bad name to jihad.
We have blown it out of proportion.
Yes.
So this was the follow-up to the first question. What's the second question?
That's the second question.
Okay.
You will agree that different Muslim societies or different Islamic movements will have to determine at what particular stage they are in on the basis of analysis of the objective conditions of their own societies. In other words, different Islamic societies and different Islamic movements can be at different stages of resistance. You will also agree that it is possible that Islamic movements can make mistakes in terms of strategic choices or the objective determination where they are right now. Like 1950s, the Muslim Brotherhood thought in Egypt that they have reached a stage of qital and they started indulging in violence, which probably in the view of many observers was a premature kind of thing. Two questions. One question is that, do you consider the possibility that these strategic